and fitness area. So if you're out in the neighborhood, or if you want to get out and do a little networking, we all know Blake. He's been a part of our group here a couple times, done a presentation recently. So, and Vitality Bowls is one of those franchises like Nicky's that he helped get established, and so it's kind of a cool thing there. So.
Hello all, just got home from a couple things this morning. First, my Center Sphere chapter meeting, which was fantastic. One of my good friends, Mujan Sharifi, she came and subbed for another one of my good friends, Nikki Wolf. Nikki's in our Center Sphere in my Center Sphere chapter that I'm a part of, but she could not make it this morning, and so you're supposed to find a sub, and Mujan was the sub. Excuse me. Mujan has what Mujan does is she works with A Cup of Content, and they do social media management, website creation, a lot of creative stuff for some companies around town. And the presenter at my Center Sphere chapter was Emmanuel Communities, their Lakeside location. Got a nice little smiley face dress ball. She presented on just kind of denouncing the typical stereotypes of old folks' homes, not to call them old folks' homes. The new wave of seniors who are more active, fit, exercising, going to social events with others. And I thought it was really relevant, obviously, to the Medicare side of what I do, because I've seen, those that are 65 have terrible health, but I've seen those who are 95 have amazing health. And so on the side, the presenter actually also does yoga training, and she's just very much into holistic and mind and body kind of help, if you will. And so it was a good presentation, I thought, personally. Her and the presenter, are actually going to do a one-to-one, and I'm going to see if I can help them in their communities and bring telemedicine to their communities and some of their residents. Because I think that's something that I've touched on before, but I think that telemedicine should be very easily accessible to those in independent living, as well as especially assisted living and memory care. A lot of times if someone's receiving home health care or is in some sort of facility, it's a big task, it's a big deal for them to just put their pants on, get dressed, and go out for the day. And oftentimes they're going out just to see the doctor, just to check a box because the doctor has to before he can prescribe a medication. And if they can just get an iPad or use their phone, sit in the comfort of their home, and then get their prescription refilled for no copay, just a $20 monthly fee, then it would be much better, I think. And shoot, even how much money some of these facilities make, you can just add on an extra $20 a month fee, and the facilities or the home healthcare companies could pay for that for their patients or their clients, their residents. So hopefully her and I can get a one-to-one on the books fairly soon, and I can kind of bring that idea to her, as well as my holistic healthcare plan that I'm kind of dabbling with, as you guys saw in yesterday's video, or maybe it was yesterday's video, when I went and presented at 1 Million Cups real briefly for my, not technically insurance, but for my membership program, whatever I want end up calling it, for individuals and families, where it covers holistic sides of care. So aromatherapy, acupuncture, float spas, cryotherapy, massages, mental health counseling, things like that. I stopped home after therapy, gonna grab some food real quick, and then I have, I think, a 1 o'clock or 1:30. It's currently 11:30. I don't remember the exact time of my next, I have a one-to-one, and then I have 2 one-to-ones back-to-back actually today. And I'll keep you guys updated and let you know how those go. So I have my one-to-one with Justice Decker. Don't know how to say his last name exactly. You guys saw his business card though right before this. He owns and started a company called My Vitals. It is a very interesting company. It tracks 7 different things. So weight, blood pressure, what's the word for people that have diabetes? Their blood sugar levels. Geez. Pulse, several different things, and it Bluetooths it to. You have this little hub in your house, and every time you check your weight on your scale, it Bluetooths it to this device, and then it's all logged on an app, and your weight is tracked. All this stuff is tracked, and if there's any sort of like red flags, your blood pressure's been, above, the normal amount. It's been like 150/90 or something for 2 days straight. It'll get flagged on the doctor's end or the provider's end, and it'll say, okay, the doctor will then text you, call you, depending on their type of relationship. Maybe the nurse will reach out and say, hey, James, you should probably come in. Something's clearly going wrong based off of your vitals that have been sent to us. And it's just something that I think is a very good innovation. Something also cool is that Medicare and Medicaid pay for this. They pay for it's a monthly subscription to kind of keep up to date with the subscription with the software. Gosh. And so that's how Justice and his company gets paid. But it's a pretty good innovation to be able to kind of track people's just their vitals, calling it what it is. It's something that people don't like though, because it kind of brings back the discipline to people. I mean, you're supposed to check this stuff every day, and not a lot of people are disciplined, and just holds people more accountable, which no one in America seems to like at this point in time. But it's necessary. We're all accountable for our own health, and this is definitely a way to help hold people accountable, as well as catch things early on instead of going into the doctor, going into the hospital, or even sometimes going into the emergency room because you feel like your heart rate is up or whatever, but then you go in, you just realize that you're not having a heart attack actually. Then you waste all this money and time for doctors and providers and facilities because you don't know exactly what's going on in your body. Whereas if you were tracking these signs, your vitals, on a more consistent basis, you wouldn't necessarily need to go in for something like that. So that was pretty neat. After my 1-to-1 with Justice, I went to a 2-to-1, I guess, with a representative from Strata Healthcare and Transformative Healthcare. I got one card here, Cassie with Transformative Healthcare. They're right on 114th and just north of Dodge in the Miracle Hills Plaza's business park. And it was really interesting to talk DPC with them, trends that are coming in already here for healthcare. And unfortunately, the way laws are set up though, although direct primary care is best for patients, unfortunately there's no incentive for a broker to push it on their clients, other than that it's the right thing to do. There's no financial incentive because there's laws that doctors can't get kickbacks or referral, they can't give away referral bonuses, referral commissions, referral fees if someone like myself recommends this doctor with Strata. So that's kind of frustrating. Strata has the same exact type of model really as Mission Direct Primary Care. You can have 24/7 access to your doctor, no co-pays. They do telemedicine, so texting, conference calls, virtual reality calls. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Video calls, there we go. So nothing too revolutionary except that they have a big network, and on the back end, Strata has all the connections with the facilities that will do imaging and labs. And so it's easier for the provider to start up a DPC practice because Strata already has all the connections that they will need. Obviously, your primary care doctor can't do all sorts of tests or all sorts of labs. Sometimes they'll need to send you, somewhere to do an MRI, and Strata provides the connection to make sure the patient gets the MRI basically at cost, at wholesale price, So it's really nice. All DPC providers that I know of in Omaha work that way. And it's just kind of cool to talk about, I guess, what all of our opinions on the healthcare system were. We all hate it. We all kind of came to the same conclusion that there needs to be a more, I would say, modern approach as to what constitutes care. You know, not just filling potholes, but rather repaving the streets. You know, not putting a Band-Aid on something, stitching it up. Focusing more on the preventative side and holding people individually accountable more for their own health. That's kind of the overall consensus. They also gave me a couple good book recommendations, so I was excited to meet with them, and hopefully some business will get strung up. They said they run into groups oftentimes where the group doesn't have any sort of benefits, and so they'll default to maybe just paying for DPC for all their employees, when they don't realize just how affordable some health insurance is, because they don't know, they didn't have a broker to talk to, or the options that the broker showed them were very cookie cutter, you know, the typical insurance setups for group plans, and it just wasn't viable for that company, whether their size, or maybe they couldn't get the participation requirements from their employees. You know, Ryan Besmer, the Strata gentleman I met with, he told me they have a company that out of 400 employees, eight of them said they would be willing to accept the group plan that the company had got quoted. And that's such a small percentage. Obviously, it would not qualify for the ACA meaning the Affordable Care Act requirements. You have to have X percent of your full-time equivalent employees enroll in the plan that you provide. So I'm a new tool for them. Hopefully they will send me business and refer me out when they come into those weird circumstances in terms of groups not being able to offer benefits. And right now I am off to a ribbon cutting for Encore, I think is how, no, it's now Duet. They used to be called Encore. It's going to be a super fun ribbon cutting because that business, one of their employees, one of their representatives, is actually a member of the Greater Omaha Chamber's Engagement Council, like I am as well. So she's just a fun girl. She's a small ball of energy. She's really tiny. And it'll be fun to see other members of the Engagement Council and just kind of celebrate as a business kind of goes through a transitional period. I think they merged with this company. So a lot of companies doing a lot of big things and growing in Omaha. It's always nice to see, and I'm glad I can be a part of supporting the local movement of fostering business growth in my city. So I had the ribbon cutting at Duet, which stands for Develop, Unite, Empower, Together. They're a company that helps special needs people find work and just kind of get situated in society. It's a really good company. But now I'm just going to do computer work for the rest of the night, respond to emails, schedule a Project 402 interview, schedule a phone call with a client tomorrow, that short-term case that I've been working on for the last few days. And then I'll be reading a little bit and heading to bed. All right, vlog. It is 11:10 p.m. I showered. I got all my computer work done. Well, not all of it. I have about 6 emails or so that I have left to check still from yesterday and 2 days ago. They're not pressing, so I've just been putting them off. Probably will put them off again until tomorrow, where I have some free time. But I need to get going to bed here. I didn't get the chance to read, so I'm really pissed off at myself for that. I really need to be better at prioritizing. But editing and uploading yesterday's episode just took longer than I expected. Again, I suck at this stuff, at video editing, at vlogging in general, to be honest. It's definitely not my strong suit. I am excited though for this show, this vlog, this podcast, whatever you want to call it. Experiment still, probably this experiment. I'm excited for this experiment to continue to grow and continue to just adapt and change, and to show you guys, I guess not what it takes. You guys know it's hard work, but to show you my process of building my book of business, building my insurance agency, my brokerage, as well as just the life of Colin and my personal brand. So that includes all things networking, Crazy Sock Crew, my networking group that I started last April, almost a year ago now. As well as Project 402, my side passion project. And so I hope this gives you guys some sort of value. I hope it also shows you how much time and effort that I do put into everything I'm doing. And, Gary Vaynerchuk was truthfully the biggest driving factor to for me to start these shows for all of you, because one day I would like to kind of look back at my beginning stages. Right now I'm literally living in my mom's basement. Last year with insurance I made $9,000. The first year I made $24,000, but I ended up filing a loss too, because of how much driving I did, and I was just also hemorrhaging money paying for leads. So hopefully this year will be, it's the first year I'm out completely on my own, so I get to control all of my own contracts, control what products I sell, and best of all, get fully compensated. I get the full commission for everything that I'm doing. So I don't need to be as much of a pushy salesman to make the same amount of money I was, at the last brokerage, or even 2 brokerages ago that I was working at. So I'm starting from ground zero. I'm in the trenches. It's grassroots, starting at 0 income. And I think it's kind of fun to document my process. And you guys will be with me. You'll either see me take off and thrive, or completely torpedo and fail. And I'm just as curious to see which one will happen as you guys are. And I also started this to help anyone else who may be on the cusp of starting, not even just an insurance brokerage or becoming an independent agent, but just starting to work for themselves. I want to show you all what it truly takes, and the amount of commitment and time and sacrifices that goes into to running your own business and carving out your own path. So I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. It's time for me to head to bed. I'm waking up early. It's our Crazy Sock Crew monthly morning meeting tomorrow. So that'll be the best. I couldn't think of a better way to start my Friday morning than to kick it off networking with some other killer young business leaders in town. But that's a wrap for today, and I'll see all of you tomorrow. Stay hungry.